Autism spectrum disorder is most of the times wrongly represented as a measure on a linear scale. In reality, it is a multi-dimensional scale. As you can see here, I have called out 12 pizza slices, each representing a distinct attribute. And for each pizza slice shown here in a specific color, there is a scale of 5, represented by the opacity of the color within the slice. The closer you are to the center of the circle for a specific attribute or pizza slice, the lower you show signs of that ability or attribute. An example of low could be for someone who utterly lacks imagination in its literal sense, and not to be construed in a manner of mocking someone. For a child with low imagination, the ability to foresee a summer holiday and the smell of the beach is simply impossible, and hence should be rated as low for that particular pizza slice. Another example could be of someone who has very high difficulties in managing themselves in a social setting. They must be marked as a high on the scale for social difficulties pizza slice. Once you have plotted the child's abilities against each slice, connecting the dots usually ends up looking like this. A bit of a spider web, you may say. The web you see here is how I have marked my son's abilities on the autism spectrum. There could be two children whose web could look identical, barring one attribute. This one minor shift could bring about a very different behavior and ability in the other child. As you can see below, black are the abilities of my child on the spider web, and white is an imaginary child's abilities that I have portrayed to demonstrate the complexity of how a web could differ. The number of permutations and combinations involved in the variation of each dot on every scale across all the 12 attributes makes it a very complex and unique world for every child. In this slide, I've tried to fit in a linear scale onto a circular scale to make it easier in evaluating where your child fits in on a multidimensional scale. The inner ring forms the signs of mild symptoms, while the middle highlights the classic, and the outermost screams severe on the spectrum. In the final slide here, I have plotted my son's abilities against the severity of his overall ability. As you can see, only one dot is in the severe ring, that is the social difficulties attribute. A total of 6 are in the classic and 5 in mild, which to me is a case of classic autism with no high functioning abilities just yet. Yep, no high functioning abilities just yet. If I can work on each of these attributes, we can certainly develop cognitive and acceptable behaviors for that attribute. I know autism cannot be cured, but the abilities one demonstrates can be trained either via cognitive or behavioral interventions.